What happens when an option contract is exercised, and how does it impact both the buyer and the seller? Welcome to Trend Watch. We have frequently used the term exercise in previous tutorials, and in this video, we will explore this topic in greater depth. First, let's recap the rights and obligations of both option buyers and sellers. An option is a financial contract that gives the buyer the right, but not the obligation, to buy or sell an underlying asset at a specified price before expiration. An option buyer can choose whether or not to exercise this right. They will typically exercise the option if it is in the money, meaning the market price is favorable, and will not exercise it if it is at the money or out of the money, meaning the market price is unfavorable at expiration. If an option grants a right to the buyer, it simultaneously creates an obligation for the seller. This concept is straightforward. When the seller sells the option, they receive an option premium, which obligates them to fulfill their commitment. If the buyer chooses to exercise their right, the seller must buy or sell the underlying asset at the option's strike price. Conversely, if the buyer decides not to exercise their right, the seller retains the option premium. When a seller is obligated to buy or sell the underlying asset at the strike price outlined in the option contract, this situation is formally known as assignment. Some options can be exercised before their expiration date. Options are categorized based on their exercise rules into two types: American style and European style. American style options can be exercised at any time before expiration. The majority of stock and ETF options, including those used in our previous examples, fall under this category. In contrast, European-style options can only be exercised on the expiration date itself. These options are primarily associated with equity indices. This tutorial will focus exclusively on American-style options. Are you a seller of American-style options? If so, you might be wondering if you need to worry about the early exercise of your option. While American-style options allow for early exercise, this rarely occurs in practice. The reason is that options that have not yet expired retain time value. Exercising an option early results in the loss of this entire time value. Instead, option buyers typically choose to sell their options when they wish to close their positions. By selling, they can capture both the intrinsic value and any remaining time value of the option. As a result, option sellers do not need to be overly concerned about early exercise. Let's focus on important points to consider when options are exercised. Most brokers will automatically process your expired option contracts. As a buyer, any options that are at the money or out of the money will expire worthless, and no action is required on your part. In contrast, all in-the-money options will be exercised. This means you will either buy or sell the underlying asset according to the terms of the option contract, and you will incur associated fees. As a seller, you will retain the entire premium from any at-the-money or out-of-the-money options that expire. Again, no action is needed from you in this case. However, if you have in-the-money options, you will be assigned to buy or sell the underlying asset according to the option contract. To avoid the automatic exercise of a contract, the buyer or seller should close their option position before it expires if they do not intend to exercise it. The buyer can sell an in-the-money option to realize a profit, while the seller can buy an in-the-money option to limit losses. If the intention is to eventually buy or sell the underlying asset, you may allow the exercise to occur automatically. Another way for sellers to manage their positions is through a strategy called rollover. This topic will be discussed in the 200 series of the tutorial. Please subscribe to the channel to receive notification when we post a new video. Thank you for watching.